This is a 2007 Keystone Springdale. My wife decided she'd like to remove all of the carpet, all of the linoleum, and put down some new tile, update the look of it. She did a lot of upholstery work in here. So what I've done is I've demoed, I've taken up all the flooring, I've taken up all the carpet. This is the slide out area. As you could see, everything has been removed. The carpet was pulled up. And what I had noticed was that on the right side of the slide out, the rug was getting caught. And I didn't realize until I started pulling everything up that I had water damage pretty severe, which was causing the floor to sag a lot. Not connecting the dots, I didn't realize that that water damage actually had gone under the slide, and that caused the right side of the slide to actually collapse. So the wood flooring, which is this particle board, I wish they would have spent an extra $10 a sheet to get something a little better, had sagged. So while the floor was level up to about here, it began to sag where you see the slide out. It dipped towards the outside of the vehicle, causing me now to have to remove the slide out in order to replace the beam. I'm not exactly sure what the roller looks like under there, but we may have to replace that as well. Don't know. You can see I started the repair but realized that this was more extensive than I first thought. So to remove the slide out was going to be a very expensive proposition, and I figured I will do it myself. I also found a little bit of wood rot. This is the rear. This is where the pull-out bed would be. And here we are on the other side. Funny enough, the water outlet inlets do not have any rot around the 2x4s that surround it. It's just in the corner, which means this wasn't leaking, it was actually outside. So let me show you what the plan is to pull this out without spending a fortune at the local RV store. So your typical slide out, it's about 9 feet wide. And what I've done is I've assembled with pressure treated wood a dolly with heavy duty casters. So the dolly is 4x4 pressure treated. The casters are rated at 250 pounds each. I've gone online and found that most people believe the slide out is about 400 pounds. I lifted it. It doesn't seem as heavy as it looks. So what I need to do on this side is what I have already done on this side, which is build what looks like a house raising contraption. So it's also by 4x4, pressure treated in the corners. It's tied together with 2x4. It's all screwed. It is not fixed to the dolly, so I could slide it around if I need to. And up here at the top is a jack, scissor jack. That scissor jack will rest on top of these 3 sistered 2x4s, and when that jack raises, I'll be able to place 2x4, plywood, whatever, so that when I lower the jack it'll rest on the plywood and the 2x4. And not rest on the vehicle any longer. And then the same thing on this side. Once that's done, what should happen is I should be able to disconnect the bolts from the rams and slide the whole thing out. That's the plan. So far so good, and next step is to build the other side. Just another view of the dolly. So day 2 of the slide out repair. You could tell that everything worked out fine. I was able to use my scissor jack idea here with the dolly and lift the unit, put the pieces of wood underneath the 4x4s to the point where the thing slid out relatively easily. On the casters it rolls pretty well, so no complaints there. Next step is to address the damaged wood. This is a demonstration on how I move the dolly with the slide out on it. As you can see, I have a caster that has a locking wheel to prevent the thing from moving. My driveway tilts a little bit towards the camera, so it's easier to move the other side first. And if you notice, I'm using a steel rod. Because the dolly is not fixed to the slide out, it's just sitting on top of it. I want the movement to be as close to the ground as possible, so I'm not pushing on the slide out to move and maybe topple it over. My driveway is not in the best condition. So basically it rolls pretty well, but we have to be careful. The thing does weigh 400 pounds, and it looks like it works pretty well. Alright, as you can see, the lap joint is ready on this side, and I gave myself about 4.5 inches of overlap, and that piece of wood is good. On the other side, a little more work, tight quarters. As you can see, I couldn't get really any tools in there, so what I needed to do was just go ahead and hammer and chisel out as best I could a flat surface, and I'll hit the rest with a sander. And next step is to measure up the replacement piece of wood, which I think I may have to lap joint in the center, but that's okay. There's a support somewhere in between there. Cut out all these, if you can see them, these staples that are sticking out. This piece of wood is rotted, but it only sticks out that much, so I think this piece is the only part that's in the worst shape. But regardless, the beam will be replaced. I plan to take out another 13 inches of floor back and replace it. I'll get the insulation back in, put the floor back on, and then I'll figure out this roller business or the slide bar or whatever it is that Keystone used, and we'll go from there. Also, I'm going to run some Cat 5 wire from this corner here all the way to the other side. There may be an opportunity for me to run some electrical work or speakers or something that once I put the floor down I won't be able to do. So check back in a moment. Alright, lap joints are in place. Worked out pretty well. I have 4 screws. Most places this one has 3, about 2 inches apart, 1 inch from the edge. I had a lap joint in the center there because the pieces they sell are not long enough. So that worked out fine. I found that the undercarriage here had a gap in it, and that's why some of the water probably spinning from the tires got up inside of that area. So this portion is done. I'm going to go ahead and take up the rest of the flooring that I have. I'm going to put down some birch ply. This is all 1/2 inch. Get rid of as much as the OSB as I can stand right now. And I may put a couple of cross members here as well. So far things are looking good. Okay, it's been about 6 hours and the floor is in. The beam was replaced earlier with the lap joints. I put a new layer of insulation in. I just sealed all the joints. Here there was 2 pieces. One had to be a little longer than the other. So everything's back where it needs to be. The floor is going to dry. It takes about 2 hours, 3 hours. Now's a good time for me to get reorganized. As you can see, once I get going, probably like everybody else, things just go haywire and stuff's everywhere. But without an answer on the rollers or the slide bar, I'm really stuck at this point. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the slide out back in, so in case it rains, because it's going to be another 4 days until they can give me an answer on what to do here. But everything is pretty sturdy. We're bolted back down to the frame. I just need an answer on that one piece so I can move forward. Just so you know, there is no evidence that there was any slide bar that had fallen off. There's no holes that are ripped out. There's nothing whatsoever. So I'm thinking that the slide out just sat on top of the rug, and the rug was used as a slippery surface for it to slide in and out. So the flooring was off new floor to old floor by about a little less than 1/8 of an inch, and the old floor was a little higher. So what I decided to do was use a floor leveling compound and then sanding it all down. The product I used was Henry's Premix Patch and Level 345. I have to tell you, it's pretty good. It's like iron. I've gone through probably 3 packs of sandpaper trying to wear that down so it's nice and level. But it came out well, and when the VCT tile goes down, I got a feeling that's going to come out just fine. So next step is to seal the floor and let it dry, and then I'm going to start laying tile down.